our rights can be taken away at any point.
I can tell you that I've never felt more vulnerable since I've become a trans woman. And I never felt that level of vulnerability when I was a person that looked like Piers Morgan.
To Piers Morgan, I say...
Do you consider Pride to still be a protest or a celebration?
It's both, naturally.
Yeah, and me myself, I'm here to support the whole community. I mean, at this moment, we're kind of all under attack. Time for us to be as visible as we can be and shout loud and be proud.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I swear?
100%.
Fuck the Tories.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Labour haven't been very hot on LGBT.
I agree, yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the Labour?
Oh, I mean, for me, I've always been a Labour voter, and seeing how Keir Starmer has backtracked on so many other things, not just LGBTQ rights, and obviously doing interviews with ladies from Mumsnet, which obviously are very visibly transphobic. I mean, me and my friend here was discussing how kind of politically homeless we feel at the moment. So, we feel a little bit unsure of the climate. Part of us believes that Starmer is potentially kind of acting this way to get more conservative voters, and there might be a bit of a hope that when he gets into office, which is quite likely at this rate, that he'll kind of scale back on these views, but it's looking unlikely, and he's looking like a very mistrustful figure currently. Again, it's the climate of politics right now is who do you actually choose to stand up for you. Yeah. There are some really good people on the Labour Party, though. That's the thing. So that's the kind of like struggle right there. You have got some good MPs there, but obviously their leader is not very favourable for us right now.
For certain sections of the LGBT society, I think it is. I think it's becoming more hostile for trans people, especially. I think it's unfortunate, like Rishi Sunak was recorded making jokes about trans women based on their anatomy, and it's just really depressing to hear the elected leader talk about trans rights in that way as such a political pawn and such a discompassionate way of speaking. So I think there's still a lot of work to do, and I think that's why here we'll, like Steelers Today, are going to be trying to push representing the trans pride movement here today, and I think it's really important that, again, many voices together speak louder than one.
So there's an interview, you've probably seen it, Piers Morgan did recently, and he was talking to a guy about how there isn't a straight pride and there isn't a straight flag. What would you have to say to Piers Morgan?
Straight pride is every day.
Straight pride is every day, and straight privilege is a thing, and we have spent our entire lifetimes fighting to be who we are and to be accepted who we are. So to Piers Morgan, I say...
Say that again.
To Piers Morgan, I say...
Fuck you, Piers Morgan. Listen, we don't forget. In the 1980s, you were calling gay people perverts, and I remember when Lord Cashman, who's in the House of Lords right now, he did the first gay kiss on EastEnders, and he was calling him a pufter in the papers. So, Piers Morgan's always been on the wrong side of LGBTQ history, and I understand that whenever I've seen him, he tries to claim that he's supportive. We know he's not. So, 100% fuck him. So
yeah. I can honestly say, having spent unfortunately too much of my life living as a privileged white male, I can tell you that I've never felt more vulnerable since I've become a trans woman. And I never felt that level of vulnerability when I was a person that looked like Piers Morgan.
Do you think Pride is now a celebration, or do you think it's still a protest?
I think it's both. I think the two aren't mutually exclusive. You can celebrate the progress we've made whilst still recognising that there's a ways to go. And I think being able to marry both of them together, I think, again, it's just, we are a community for a reason. We're all, whether you like your gender, romantic or sexual identity, we've been lumped together, and so it's really important that we combine our voices and speak as one community.
Yeah, and although it is a celebration, it's still a topic that people debate about and still argue about. So this collection of people together, even though we're all having a good time, in a way it's still a process. It's still sending out to people that we belong in this space, we exist, and we should be allowed to be happy being ourselves.
I don't know, even Slovakia, I'm originally from Slovakia, Eastern Europe, we don't have right to legally marry our partners, so there's lots of work to be done, and we are very privileged to kind of have that voice and not to be afraid to speak for those who can't speak.
Do you think that? Do you feel that the UK is a safe space to be part of the LGBTQ+ community? Do you actually feel safe here?
I mean, I have to speak for London. London is a special place, but I came here on a tube, dressed like this. I have a huge hope for, for our country and for our society. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm not in Slovakia, for example. So yeah, I do believe this is a safer place that it can be, but of course it can be safer than it is.
In this country, as James rightly said, we are like rolling back in terms of our rights. There's a lot of very loud right-wing voices that are very clearly against, as Beck said, especially trans rights. But what happens next? It's always going to be the LGBTQ+ community that are impacted by these things. So yeah.
I think it'll only be about celebrating when actually we have full rights and we are seen as equals. Until that point, it will be a protest, and it'll be more of a protest the more restrictive the country is.
Pride to me means community and being together and being able to band our voices together to speak louder for people who might not be able to speak as loud by themselves.
Yeah, and just being your authentic self, being able to be who you are without any barriers, without having to hide anything, and truly express yourself.
At a time where so many laws in America particularly, and even from our own government, are pushing back on our rights a little bit, it's important that we celebrate, so that in itself is a protest.
So our rights can be taken away at any point. We can see that happening, from conservatives trying to ostracize the transgender people. So which is horrible to witness. And at the same time, so it's definitely a protest as well as celebration, because we are a privileged country to have the rights that we have and to fight for the countries that don't have the rights, such as, Uganda or Saudi Arabia, you name it,
That's it.
Everybody has a right to live authentically. And what is the problem with that? Why can't we just get on board with everybody having the rights to be free and to be seen and to be loved?